The Woman by DeVille. I was on the bus carrying a load of pastries from work, carrying inside my chest a load of grief over the death of my best friend. There were noisy children and adults talking on FaceTime with their cell phones turned up all the way, adding to the noise. I could not read, and I had no friend to call and talk to. I was a stranger in a strange land, so to speak. I began to just be bored looking out the window and stopped off at the train station where I waited 10 minutes for the blue line to come take me home. I was craving a caffeinated sugary soda. It was a craving I planned on quenching with a $5 purchase, and hopefully later I could drink it and be happy with my purchase. However, I knew this wouldn't be true. I was destined to be alone forever, alone with myself, my thoughts, my dreams of ending loneliness, compiling day by day. I did not drink alcohol anymore because as much as people think it ends lonesomeness, it only magnifies it. This day and age, people are turned off by being talked to from strangers. At least this was the case within the bars of this strange land. I boarded the train after scanning my card at the fare reader. I sat alone on a long bench of empty seats. After 2 stops, a woman boarded and sat across from me. Now she had a striking beauty, but something didn't feel right about her, and I couldn't tell what. It wasn't her pale skin or her large eyes that struck me as odd. Maybe it was the fact that she began to stare blinklessly at me. She looked as if she knew me and was scolding me for something. I glanced enough times at her to tell she was still staring and that I did not recognize her at all. She still had yet to blink. Should I say something? Is she sad? Is she staring out the window past my head with my wild hair poking out in all directions? Did I smell bad? I couldn't tell if these things were true. I only knew that some beautiful stranger was staring at me on the train. It made me uneasy for a while, but I decided to just ignore it. I didn't have the luxury of owning any Bluetooth headphones to shut out all the noise on the train, so I just pretended she was posing for a picture. A baby cried, and I looked over at a single mother trying to comfort him and thought of friends from the past. Friends who all had moved on with marriages and children of their own. Even the single ones didn't want to stay in contact. And I thought about my best friend who had passed away tragically months ago. I looked over back at the window. The woman continued staring at me without blinking an eye. Can I help you? Do you know me or something? The woman's eyes began to tear up. Have I done something to upset you? I'm sorry if I did, Miss. Trying to get her to speak was all in vain. As tears began to fall and she quivered her lips, she began to breathe heavily and finally she blinked. She put up 2 hands in front of her face. Her tears turned to blood. I was in shock, or else I would have called the driver or 911. Nobody around us seemed to see anything out of the ordinary. Everyone else was stuck in their phones. The beautiful woman with the pale skin and large brown eyes sobbed, holding her face. And finally I snapped out of the stupor that she put me in. She was wearing a light sundress, and it was now stained with blood falling from her eyes. "Ma'am," I asked her, "do you need help?" She did not answer. I reached for some napkins from my load of pastries at work. I started to hand them to her, touching her shoulder. She let out a scream. It was a shrill scream which broke my hearing aids. The windows broke. Her eyes turned black, and the train derailed, shuffling to a stop on its side. I was badly cut up with glass, one broken leg for me. I looked over. The stranger was dead. Her eyes were closed.